Welcome back, everybody, to Ultimate CNFT. Mike, aka Mr. Ultimate, here today. I'm very excited to be interviewing the man himself, Mr. Hansell of ADA Inmates. Martin, how you doing?
What's going on, people? Yes, I am very good. Very excited to be here, as usual. I'm looking forward to, giving my opinions on a few things and, get a little bit lively in here, I've seen some of the interviews.
You're telling me you're about to share some opinions with us, right? You shared some opinions? No.
Oh, never.
I'm looking forward to this, man. So we've been talking about actually having you on for an interview for quite some time now. As you know, and as people who watch my channel, they know I'm a big fan of your project. I have been since day one. As soon as I found out about you guys, I aped into some of the passes. And of course, I used all of them to mint your project. And we're going to be talking everything ADA Inmates for past, present, and future. You guys have a lot of stuff planned. You guys have a lot of things in the work. But before we get into some of those things, I'd like to kick this off by saying this. Now, we all know that we just came out of basically what we called March Madness for a while. It was crazy. We have a lot of liquidity things going on in Cardano. There's some macro things going on. There's some micro things going on. But your project is one of, if not the only one, but at least one of the very, very few, especially for a highly visible project, whose mint price never went below the mint price. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, we minted at 130 and we haven't got near it. Well, it was close for like a 140 for a time, 150, and then I think it's been above 190 for a long while. Yeah,
that actually says a lot. Yeah, well, I don't know if it's luck, man.
I'm trying to be modest here. Come on,
of course you gotta be modest, but see, I don't have to be modest because I'm the host, and I'm just going to be honest. That says a lot, and it's really hard, in this situation that we're in the current market to even mint out, let alone stay above mint, let alone be successful. I think it's a testament to what you and Space are doing. You guys have an awesome community. It's funny because back in the not that long ago, but there's a stigma because it was an inmate thing and the whole jail, persona, and everyone's like, "What's going on with this project?" And I don't know about this, that, or whatever. But your community is amazing. It's fantastic. They're so welcoming. They're so loving. It's like you have an army of 5,000 people who will promote your project for you, and that's fantastic. So testament to you guys. We're going to get into it. I'm super pumped. What would you like to share with us first, man? Because I know most people at this point have heard of ADA Inmates. They know what you guys are doing. They know what you guys are building. You guys are doing so much that it's almost hard to you grasp it all. But if you could tell me a little bit about how, I guess just in the very beginning, briefly about how you and Space came up with this and basically now have this project that's got everything. It's got art. It's got the community. You guys are just crushing it, bro. You're just killing it.
Yeah, it's crazy how it started, right? Because I didn't come from like everybody, tech background, crypto space. I was in it for I don't know. I lost a shitload of money trying to learn how to play with cryptocurrency. I thought I was excited. One moment I had like £5,000, and then in 20 minutes I made like 15 grand, and I was like, oh my god, sick. It's going to go to the moon. I'm going to get like 100 grand here. No, woke up in the morning, it was back down to like 3 grand. I was like, what is going on here? So that was my introduction to the crypto space. So what I decided to do is I decided to, okay, should I take my money out or should I try something different? I've heard of an NFT before. Let me go to Ethereum. Bad mistake. Went to Ethereum, tried to buy an NFT, couldn't afford the gas fee. And I was like, shit, I've lost my money. That's what happened. So I kind of lost I don't know, I forgot where it was at the time. It was at a time where it was crazy gas prices. So I decided, okay, let me see what other chains do, NFTs. And I always had a small bag of Cardano. So I just basically transferred that over and learned how to do a wallet. I didn't know anything. I just, watched YouTube videos, how to do a wallet and so on. Got into my first NFT was Safari Squad. Shout out to them for, just literally, giving me, they got a great community, great people. They're not doing as great at the moment, but great people. I learned a lot. Then I got into some other projects, got into Salty Seagulls, where Space was at the time. Learned a bit about the space. Then realized, I went around a few projects and realized, okay, I've got a lot of ideas here. So let me just start asking questions. Soon found out it was a bad mistake to ask questions. right at the beginning, because I'm quite, as you can see, quite open. I'd go on a Twitter space or whatever, and I'd ask a question, and people were kind of caught off guard a bit. You don't understand. It takes time to create a project. You should be doing this. You should be doing that. You should be patient. And I thought, hang on a second. You've just got 1 million ADA or whatever it is, whatever it may be. Just example. I'm giving an example. And I was like, you're not giving us anything for that 1 million ADA, just the artwork. I was like, I don't understand this. So where's the white paper? Where's this? And they were like, oh, it's coming in a week's time. It's coming in 3 weeks' time. And I realized this stuff didn't come. So I thought, okay, fine. Tried another project, same thing. Mm-hmm. So I thought to myself, what do I know about? So I grew up in East London. I grew up around crime. I won't go into all the details, but I mean, I was in trouble as a youngster. I knew a lot of people that are about that life, as they say, and I knew all about crime. I knew all about prison. And then I became obsessed with the whole prison TV shows and all that kind of stuff. I've always been
the whole crazy culture. I mean, it's a culture for sure.
Yeah. So I got into all that, and I thought, okay, let me just I literally wrote some ideas down on a piece of paper. I transferred it onto a Word document, and then I sent it to 5 people that I trusted in the space. And one of them was Space. One of them is who now just created the island, who's Mac. He created the prison island. He built that. And then a couple of other people. And everyone came back, apart from one person, and said, okay, so 5 people, and 4 came back and was like, oh, can I be involved? It's so cool. It'd be amazing. If you create this, it would be great. And then one person was like, I'm not really feeling what you're doing. It's a negative vibe. It's not something that will take off in there in the CNFT space. It's just something that won't work. I was like, okay, fair enough, So I spoke, we see now we're doing all right. But I mean, this is to you. Whoever you are. I won't say your name. They're a holder, by the way, now. Just saying. Just saying. They're a holder.
That is proof of the pudding right there, man. That's funny.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, so Space, we get on well. We were speaking behind, on the DMs and stuff like that for a long time before I even asked him. And then we was having a conversation, and he was like, are you going to ask me to be a founder? Because I didn't know how this stuff works. I didn't know. I was just asking for kind of advice. And what do you think? Do you think I've got a chance of possibly? I've got so much ideas. Do you think it would work? And he was like, I think it's a great idea. Started from there. So that was the initial starting point. He jumped on board. I'm not stupid. I came into a space where I don't know the people. Like, I don't know who's Mike, CNFT, who's Ultimate. I don't know all these people. I didn't know all them people there. I do now. Can't get rid of you. Yeah, so I didn't know the people. Space knew the people at the time. It's funny now because I probably know more people than Space now in this short amount of time. But yeah, so that's how it started. And then, people came on and, they heard what I had to say, and, and the amount of work we put into what we're doing is ridiculous. Literally, I probably had 4 hours sleep a night since last August. Literally.
Yeah, no, I believe that. I mean, from my observations, I mean, you guys are one of, if not top echelon of people who are working all the time towards your project. And that's why I think the development has been just, it's just been, you guys have never taken a step backwards, not since day one. Not that I've observed. I have never seen 2 steps forward, 1 step back, whatever it may be. You guys are crushing it. I think you, and I've said this to you privately many times, I think you and Space were such a great, perfect marriage made to happen because of his background in this space, how long he's been here, all the work he's done, all of the basically the experience that you need from a team of founders. And then you got you come in here, you're fresh, you're kind of fresh off the boat, you're new, you don't have any biases, you don't have any stigmas or anything. You've got all this fresh energy, all of these ideas. You find Space. I just feel like it was supposed to happen. And all of a sudden now, boom, and it's just,
and we're so opposite as well. It's crazy. We're so opposite as people, but it's like we're learning from each other's like strengths and weaknesses. So like, I mean, you would never catch Space on really on Twitter, on Voice this now, but now he's coming out of his shell a little bit and coming on occasion. He's not here today because he's working, but yeah, it's come on a lot, and I think I've learned to kind of be patient because I'm kind of like I want to go, like it was like just go, but you need someone like me, and you need someone like me when I like him when I get too crazy. Like he'll go like, hold me back and go like, calm down on this one, calm down on that one. And I mean, sometimes, you need it. I mean, and so does he. He needs a push. I need to be pulled back. So that's how it works.
Yin and yang, bro. That's what it takes. I often ask people when I don't know as much about a project, when I'm doing, founder interviews and stuff, I ask about the team. I ask about the relationships, because I know how important it can be to have a good relationship and what happens when that relationship falls apart, personally. I know what those things are like. And so, but with you guys, it's all out in the open because you guys operate so much together and so much openly. You have people coming into if people don't know yet, by the way, your community, your Discord, look, Twitter's Twitter, Discord is Discord. I'm a big fan of Discord because that's where the community is at. That's where you really get to engage and find out, what really makes a project, the heartbeat of that project go. And you guys are hosting stuff. I've been into your host a couple times on Sundays. You have people come in and you're talking about projects. It's almost like you guys are doing some interviewing yourself in a way.
Yeah.
Your community shows up, the projects show up, and you guys create this environment. It's funny, you mentioned earlier the one person that was saying that's a negative vibe. It's anything but
so the
that.
Opposite, yeah. It's the opposite.
Complete opposite. It's very comforting and very you guys produce this environment where people can come out and they can talk about their projects. It's not like a Twitter space where people are getting bombarded and they're getting their butts kicked. It's funny how you talk about, you've asked questions, you're doing all these things, and people kind of come at you. Well, you got to do A, B, C, and D. And it's like this formula to become and create a project when really there is no formula for creating a project. It comes down to ingenuity, the inventiveness of your mind and your ideas, and the ability to execute all of the things that come from here, into the fruition of an actual project. And so, here you are, you're at that point where you've minted your first part, you crushed it, you're stayed above mint price. Now you got something coming up next that I think, tell us about basically what's around the corner here and how people can take advantage of that, because there's still plenty of time to get in on these kinds of things and take part in the next iteration of, ADA Inmates.
So we started off with our passes, which we don't have any on the market right now, so unfortunately you can't buy any again. So it's like the sixth time there's not been any on the market. It's been like
again, that says a lot.
Yeah, so people are picking them up, for the guard airdrops, there's a free psychopath cell with every pass you hold, you get a free psychopath cell drop, and there's only 500 of them, so 200's taken by the pass holders. We always had that kind of loyalty from the beginning to have, the passes need to be stacked constantly. And when something's used in that pass, we need to replenish it. So that was what kept the passes, valuable, because we keep replenishing what we're using. So you may get the guard airdrop, but then, okay, so you might get the women's mint. You'll get an airdrop there, or you'll get something else. I mean, it's a repay. Those passes would have paid for themselves over and over again. Many times, especially if you got in earlier. I think the most one sold for is like 4,000 ADA, which is, from the beginning, it's like, wow, it's like, people are really, really, it's the longevity that we're trying to build. They know we're not going to be here for 5 minutes. I mean, at the beginning when we came, onto the scene, people were like, oh, it's a rug, they're inmates. Listen, we told you we were inmates from the beginning. So if we do rug you, we told you. but yeah, so that's what people thought from the beginning, it wasn't going to work, but we know who we are as people. We know we're straightforward. You might not like sometimes what we got to say, but a community needs to hear straightforwardness and transparency, whether they like it or not, and they should be able to give their opinion in the same way. So that's what we've created, Someone will come in and go, oh, Hansell, I don't agree with this, or could we do this better? Or, someone would send me a message, can you redo the parole letter because you made some spelling errors, or you made this, that kind of, but we appreciate that,
For sure.
I appreciate that because it's like, firstly, it shows that everybody cares about what's going on, even to the finer details. And that's how we are. So when we do make mistakes, the community come along and go, okay, here's the mistake, let's fix the mistake. that's why everybody's so together. You know, creating that family where everyone can be themselves and, you know, not to be judged. And well, you know, it's like you come into the Warden's Lounge and you have projects on there. You've got a new founder that comes in, is trembling, you know, can't even speak. No, because
I know.
people don't realize. Like, fortunately for us, you know, we're able to have a conversation like that. But some people, especially from, you know, maybe the English is not great or so on and so forth, but we want to make them feel relaxed. So I kind of break the ice from the beginning, and, you know, and I say, listen, I know you're sounding nervous. You know, it's fine, it's cool. We're not going to here jump on you like some people would on a Twitter space. It's not like that.
Yeah.
You know, I've been on Twitter space and I think to myself, you know, that's why I didn't go on there so early, because some of them are ruthless. But
yeah,
I can handle my own, but I don't want to be involved in that kind of thing. You know, so I have a rule. I only go onto Twitter spaces if I'm invited. So that's my rule. I won't go to you and go, oh, Mike, I want to come on your Twitter space. Oh, this person, I want to go on your Twitter space.
Right.
I don't do that. So if I'm invited, gladly I will come. But, you know, waiting 2-3 hours sometimes, you know, it's hard, but, you know, you have to do it. I mean, people sometimes wait on our spaces, so, you know, it's fair. But yeah, so that's my rule. I don't go on Twitter spaces unless I'm invited, and, you know, the people that are inviting me are, you know, respectable and can't come on there and take the pee with us, you know, because on our Twitter spaces on a Wednesday, we have loads of projects on there, and it's a friendly, it's a laugh and joke. And most people say, oh, you know, it's the most relaxed they've felt on a Twitter space, because we're trying to bring that Discord environment to the Twitter spaces. It's not easy because anyone could just jump on a Twitter space, but, you know, to get that, you know, engagement going forward, we need to do more on Twitter. We need to, you know, still have our Discord and our tight-knit community, but we do need to branch out a bit more. And that's the kind of thing that we're at now. We're at that stage where we need to branch out a little bit. The staking platforms and the sales mint coming on the 16th, which is coming up, 16th of May, 125 ADA. There's no public mint. It's just a holder, you know, it's a holder whitelist. So, you know, one inmate equals one whitelist for sale, guaranteed. We've got some first come, first serve whitelist, but it's only a 12-hour period. And yeah, there were from a few giveaways and stuff.
Real quick, for those people who don't know, maybe they're not a holder yet and they're thinking about, you know, they want to get in on this settlement or whatever it may be. So it's a 1-to-1. So you said you have a first come, first serve list. What is that? Is that separate from?
So basically, this is how it's going to work. If there's 5,750 cells, it works out to be, you know, there's some whitelists for the death row passes and stuff like that. So if you hold one inmate, it equals a guaranteed mint of a cell. So if you hold 20 inmates, guaranteed to mint 20 cells. We did this because we made a promise to the community for a small holder, because I was a small holder, and that one NFT that you've got or you've bought, you'll be able to mint a cell with it. So that was the promise we made, and we stuck to that. You know, whatever happens with this happens. So if they sell out, great. If they don't sell out, it's the holders decide how much they want to mint, how much do you know what I mean? So
that was my next question.
Yeah.
What would be so let's say they don't, let's say not everybody mints a 1-to-1, because I mean there are people who are holding, you guys got everyone from the single holder to some whales who are holding you know, like myself being a perfect example. I've got, I think between the Ultimate War Chest and my personal one, I've got like 40 or 50 inmates total. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to mint every single one. So what happens to the ones that are left over?
So if there's ones that are left over, like you say, some people have got 100 plus inmates. If there's some left over, we're given a 12-hour period for a first come, first serve whitelist.
Okay, that's where they're connected. That's what I was trying to figure out if that was the case. Actually, I think that's a very smart way to mint this type of a project the way it is, because like you said, it's beholden to the actual holders of the images themselves, which are the core of your project together. And so the way you're structuring that and giving other people a chance to come in and do it, I think is absolutely brilliant. I do personally think that you are going to sell those out for, again, people who are not, they don't know enough about your project yet. They're watching this interview because they want to know more about you and everything basically. What do the cells do? Like what's the purpose of I know the answer to this question, but for people who don't know, tell them.
So the main thing of the cells is you can't stake or stake your inmate on a poster if you don't own a cell.
Right.
So if you don't own a cell, you can't stake or be involved in actually staking. You can hold certain inmates that generate items, but if you want to actually stake those inmates for the rewards, you need a cell. So that's the main thing about it. Down the line, there'll be a women's mint, which will be 3,000 women prisoners at the end of this year, and then they will be able to create items to go in your cell, generate and create items to go in your cell, so you'll be able to kit out your whole cell. Also, another thing, just to throw it in there, these smokes tokens, when you earn them, you will need to hold these tokens to be able to mint the women, because they're not going to be minted in ADA. They're going to be minted in the smokes token. So we've already started, creating that value for the token from the beginning. That's why we haven't launched it. I said to someone earlier on, we've had the smokes token since January, but we want to have specific, use cases and, worth it before we launch the token. So we're not just going to chuck the token onto a DEX and chuck liquid up there and it gets sucked out in seconds,
Right. Yeah.
And then especially now you're going up against these meme coins, it's a bit pointless. I'll wait for them all to die down, and then then the real tokens will come back. I mean, let everyone have their fun now, I guess. Don't get me wrong, I've made a few ADA on some of these coins, just mucking around with them, I suppose. But yeah, so the cells also, we dropped a video yesterday, which we dropped a video of our original Inmate song, which is made by inmates. Inmate holders, that is, and the island was built by an inmate holder and obviously produced and directed by myself. So we're doing things as a whole family, as we say. And these cells at a later date, we're just showing now to the community, this is what we can create, this is what we can do, this is what you can see in the future. We want to take these cells in the future and be able to slot them into that virtual prison and create a business from your cell. That's one of the ideas that we have. It's obviously, we've got so many different angles of our project. We've got law, we've got, it's a whole ecosystem. It's a proper ecosystem, not just like people say, I want to create an ecosystem, but you've just got a PFP, You've just got a PFP. You haven't even got a white paper, but you want to create a monster or whatever you want to call it ecosystem, but you don't have anything, So this is what's irritating for me anyway, as a founder. And I think seeing out there some of the jokers that are taking the Mickey with their communities is really irritating for me. Respect your community, respect them. At the end of the day, you need to respect their investment, because they're spending their time, for one, in your project, and they're spending their hard-earned money. So don't disrespect that. That's a big rule that we have. And any question, we're there to answer. Any DM, we're there to answer. That's overlooked nowadays. Once you've minted out, people go missing. Founders go missing once you mint it out. You go, where are they? They're on holiday in the Bahamas with your money. That's true though. It's true. Where are they? Where are they?
It absolutely happens.
Serious. You got 2-3 million ADA from mints or whatever. Just giving examples, and what have you delivered for your community? That's why we're showing now in advance. This is what we can do, guys. Bear with us. We're on that journey. This is just a little glimpse of what we can do with our budget at the moment. Once the smokes token comes, once we start bringing, we do a work to earn model, which we're going to be doing, where you can buy and sell your services, like whether you're a maths teacher or an English teacher or a guitar teacher or whatever you want to do, whether you're selling something, we want to use that in our own marketplace, which brings me to the marketplace. We've got our own marketplace, which is built, ready to rumble. Straight after mint, the staking platform goes live, and then the marketplace goes live. So we're already, on the way there. And for what we've done in a short amount of time, we didn't want to wait and say, okay, we'll wait to the, to the bull run, or we'll wait to the bull market, because you might not have a community by that time.
Yeah.
Your community might be gone. And I've seen projects, and there's projects I'm involved with, and I look at it and I'm like, you made that decision and you told the community that's what you're doing. Basically, you're pissing off on a holiday for 6 months or a year or whatever until the bull run comes. Now your floor price is decimated. There's ghost town in the Discord. I never wanted that. I never wanted to look at the project and go, look back in however many years' time and go, I didn't put my effort into that. I didn't respect the people. I didn't do that. And I have a thing in me that's like, I can't do that. I can't. It's impossible for me, because I won't be able to sleep at night.
Yeah.
So that's why we people don't know, but even getting this video and the island built and stuff like that, I said it was going to be done by 6 p.m. My time yesterday, and it was tight getting there, but we got there. And delivering is key. You say you're going to do something for your community, you need to deliver. That's it. So, and we've delivered everything we said we were going to do right from the beginning.
True. Yes, you have. As a matter of fact, I think you guys have done more in a short amount of time, because everything that you're talking about and everything that talks about creating, and you look at other people's projects, you see some of the things they're doing, and some things, just simply take time. There's only so much you can do, whether it's market conditions or whether there's outside external forces or whatever it may be. There's only so much you can do in a certain amount of time, but because you want to create a quality project that's all integrative together, when things, work out, you want everything to work out, not just this to work out and the rest of it to just kind of, we'll see what happens there. You want to tie it all in together. But, you guys are really, and I said this before, I think when I did my deep dive of your project, I said, this is the kind of project with the kind of leadership where you look at it and you go, wow, this is a model of what it takes to come in here and be one of the top projects in Cardano. Because, bull runs and bear runs aside, rug pulls, straight up people who are a slow rug or just maybe a failed project. There's a lot of things that go on in this space, but I think the quality is starting to step up in the game. You're starting to see, it's funny because even like people are asking me, where's all the videos, the YouTube videos? I'm like, look, I'm not going to cover projects that are worth covering. Like, there's nothing good right now that's new.
Mr. Ultima getting burned.
It's like I'm not going to cover projects just for the sake of filling space. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see more quality and less projects. That's what I want to see in Cardano. And it's funny, you think as a YouTuber, I would be the opposite. Like, I just want to pump out, content, but absolutely not. I like the fact that we're weeding out some of the, I guess, weaker projects, or people are going to rug or whatever it may be. We could talk later one day about what I'm creating with Ultimate Doc System to create a better system for there's less of that. But
don't get me onto the whole doxing thing. You know what I'm like. Don't get me onto the whole doxing thing. Should we talk about the whole doxing thing?
Well, that's the thing. I'm actually here to change that, because right now it's non-existent. It's BS.
It's BS.
It's what I call it a digital certificate of entry-level accountability. Ultimately, there's no accountability. I'll be changing all that. But back to what I was talking about, you guys, the model of proficiency of what you can do in a short amount of time with a project that's got a lot of plans, what I call a big brain project. It just shows that it can be done. It is a roundabout way of saying, look, if you work hard and if you just keep pushing, if you don't, take that time off, you're not out there on an island, kind of sipping on some drinks while other people are going, well, what's next? ADA Inmates is always having something next. You've got your mint coming up on the 16th. Today is the 7th as of the making of this video. And you've got still, like you said, you're always replenishing the death row passes. When something gets taken out, you put something back in. It's a model of proficiency of what to do with even just the concept of having a pass. So many people, their passes, they're good to mint the project and then they're gone. Well, those days in at least right now in the space are gone. It was when hype was created, it was like, oh, I want to guarantee I can mint this project. You got to buy the pass, and that's all they're worth. You guys have totally blown that out of the water and created a new standard, I think, of entry of what people should expect from a project in the Cardano space. Because I still believe that Cardano is a cut above everybody else, including Ethereum, including everybody, really. I know that you have some thoughts on that too. If you know.
I mean, listen, like I said, it's other chains. You got the cross chain whole thing. I mean, I just wish that the bigger projects would help out the smaller projects more. I mean, we're talking about now, we had to do We're a newish project, right? We're a new project, basically. We can't afford to sit back and wait for a bull run, and most new projects definitely can't sit back and wait for any bull run.
Right.
The OG projects can sit back like this for a certain time period, and then now it's starting to show even in their floor prices. So I think what we need to do is we have a lot of amazing Cardano communities in projects that needs to be brought together as a whole, because we're small. We're not big. We're small as an ecosystem. We need to people need to take their egos out, leave it to the side, sit around the table, sit around like this. All of the big people in the space need to have a private thing like this, like whether it's a Zoom meeting or whatever you want to call it, and actually have a proper conversation, and people need to give their views about what's going on in the space. Would that happen? I'm not sure, but I think something like that needs to happen, in the near future. Otherwise, we're going to be sitting here going, oh, Polygon NFT is doing great. Oh, let's go to Polygon NFTs. Oh, let's go to Ethereum. Let's go to this chain, go to that chain. We need to be drawing people to our chain. That's what we need to do.
I agree with that. And I think the one view that you and I have that differs a little bit is that you can actually grow your chain by engaging in other people in other chains. Because really what it comes down to is there's a lot of smart people out there. And they're all about opportunity. And opportunity seems to kind of shift sometimes. But it always comes back around, because everything we're involved in, whether it's crypto, no matter what it is, that we're all here for a reason. There's a cycle. There's cycles within cycles of everything that's going on. And if people, you don't have to necessarily abandon one to dabble in another one, but really, and especially from like my take as I hate the word influencer. I hate it. As an educator, I like to engage other people and be like, hey, I like what you're doing over here.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll like what we're doing over here as well. And so there's a middle ground, I think, to where really, you're engaging in people, what I call it a circle of influence, right? But there are people who buy NFTs and there are people who don't. And no matter what NFT chain you're in, I believe that people who have at least the mindset, who are willing to be like, look at an NFT, not as a scam, but as an opportunity, those people are where the engagement for the overall NFT collectability is. And what we like to do, what we should do, and what everybody should have as a mindset is to be like, how can we get to the general public who, if you mention the word NFT, they've either never heard of it or they think it's a scam. How do we those people and be like, no, actually, there's a lot of things going on. There's communities, there's art, there's ways, there's opportunities to make money. There is so much going on in the NFT space that instead of everybody fighting within each other or fighting in chain agnostic, whatever it may be. I like the idea that you said, if we can all kind of get this round table of people who actually matter in this space, be like, what can we do to brainstorm to make everything, better in our space? Because you and I both know one thing, right? We know Cardano is the best. We know we have the best communities. We know that we have the most ability to grow. We know that, yes, we recognize that we're still small, but that's the beauty of where we're at right now. There is so much room for growth. You look at Ethereum, it's like, forget it, man. I don't want to be this little guy splashing around in the ocean. I would rather be in this lake that's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. There's more snow melt going on in those mountains in the distance, and all the water's pouring in, and Cardano's starting to grow, right? We are the ones who are helping these things grow, whether it's an influencer, whether it's a project, whether it's someone like yourself, you guys, getting together and allowing a safe space for people to come in there, talk about their projects. What can they bring to the space? What can they do to add to that pool to make it grow, right? But there's so many ways of doing it. And like, I'm looking into Polygon. I'm like, hey, there's a great project over here, but I want you guys to watch my videos and see that there's like 98% of my videos are all about Cardano NFTs,
Yeah. I mean, just on that point. So like me personally, I don't think this, so I've slightly changed my view. I've kind of educated myself a little bit, and I've been a little bit open-minded, whereas previously I was a little bit more stubborn, I guess. I still don't have the view of taking my project and putting it in another chain and minting it on another chain, because I don't personally feel like that's something that we want to do or something that we need to do, but I do think having conversations and whatever you may call it with other projects in different chains and getting to know the people and getting to know the communities. I'm open to getting into that. I've actually reached out to a couple of people today. This is some alpha. So I actually reached out to a couple of people, just to have a conversation, maybe jump on a Twitter space. They may tell me, no, sorry, that we're not interested, but I'm giving that olive branch to say, listen, you know what? It's not a competition between chains. It's not a competition. And listen, let's just have a chat. Jump on maybe an Inmates Twitter space, or I'll jump on one of yours, whatever. And listen, I put the feelers out there so I don't, the community have said certain things, and the community gave ideas, and we had a 6-hour Warden's Lounge yesterday. So it was a six-hour Warden's Lounge. Yeah. We had a few people in the space as well that were on there. We had Dead Rabbits on there as well, and we had a frank, open conversation about how some really good ideas came out of it. So the benefits of having these Warden's Lounges is also in Discord. People feel a little bit more comfortable than to talk and to go on to Twitter. So we do have one-on-one, but a lot of good kind of ideas and information came out of that Warden's Lounge yesterday. So, and I said to, they're going to watch this now, probably with my dodgy hair. They're going to watch this, and they're going to be like, okay, he's listening to what I'm saying, because there was somebody who said, listen, how are we going to, attract people outside of our chain, whether it's Web2, whether it's other chains, you need to, we're a smaller chain. Right? We're a smaller chain in their eyes, yeah? Right, for example. Yeah. So maybe it takes for us to reach out to the bigger chains rather than them. The likelihood of them coming to us is less. Exactly. In my view. I agree. So yeah, listen, it may not happen, but you got to try. At the end of the day, if Inmates family says to me, listen, can we look at this? I will look at this, because I have that respect, because especially if there's more than one person saying it, you have to listen to the people, at the end of the day.
Well, I love that. And I talk about that a lot on my channel, because I get to know founders. I get to know people. Like I said earlier, I don't just cover any and every project. There's no point in doing that. The dilution would just be bad for everybody. But I love to observe people and how they run their Discords, how they run it. And if you listen to your community, you're automatically, to me, in an upper echelon of people who are here to build and not just be closed-minded and have these blinders on where I've got this vision, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. At the end of the day, you've got to listen to the people who are backing up, your project. And that's what's great about NFTs and NFT community. People go, what is an NFT? What can I do with it? I'm like, well, number one, you can get involved with a bunch of people who have, if the project is being run right, they have the ability to kind of shape and help out and give their 2 cents. If their 2 cents is actually being heard and picked up off the table, and you get a chance to shape something, you get a chance to be involved in something. It's not like you can go invest in a stock, right? It's just sitting there. It's a number on a screen. It's a 1 or a 0 or whatever it may be. You look at what we're building with the technology. You start throwing in some artwork in there. Some actual people are talented out there, man. And now you have something that's worth backing. And that's why I believe that, we talk about Cardano being a smaller chain within, some of the bigger stuff. You look at Ethereum again, that's where the billions and billions of dollars are at. But if you look at everything on a macro perspective, more and more people need to look into what an NFT can do for various purposes, whether it's the art, whether it's the community, whether it's the opportunity, or whether it's just the technology that's being pushed. I don't know how much you know about SIP68, but that's going to be a game changer for Cardano. That's going to open up doors that other people will not even be able to touch when that's starting to develop. People like Avatar Nick, we got some very, very smart people in this space that are pushing it forward and being like, hey, it's only a matter of time before Cardano's up there right at the top with everybody else, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, listen, we just need to keep pushing, and we keep being positive. I mean, I just want to say something as well that I kind of talk about a bit sometimes, but when you come into something just for money, for example, as a founder, from what I've seen, it don't work. It don't work, because like me now, I look at what we're building and what we're creating, and I think to myself, when I hear people talking about our project and, getting excited and crazy about what's going on, and I listen in on a voice chat, nothing can beat that feeling. No money, no nothing. When I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, dude, I'm like, this is like magic. You know, when you're hearing people that excited and, you know, getting involved about something that you've dreamt up and created, like, can't beat that. No money can beat that.
You can't buy that. You just
No, you can't buy it. You can't buy it. And I mean, think about it. If you can create that intentionally or unintentionally, if you can create that, the likelihood of your project being successful is pretty high. And the likelihood it being, you know, long term is pretty high because, you know, if people love what you're doing and they love the community they're in, forget the NFTs and the project. People sit there and have 25 people sit there and have a chat about just anything, you know, anything. Like, so when they feel like they can come and chill in the Discord, not even talking about the project, then you know you've got something special brewing, you know?
Yes.
And I think we have that. I believe that we have something special growing, you know. That's what I believe.
Well, you do. And from an outside observer, of course, it's easy to live in an echo chamber. You know, you got your community, it's like everything's great within your own community or whatever. Then you step outside one day and you go, oh my gosh, it's like crazy out here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's crazy.
From an outside observance, that's the thing. And that's the model that I talk about. You guys coming in here, having the perfect marriage of founders, because it does start with the founders and it works its way down in the community. And you have this recipe for what it takes to have a successful project in the space right now, because most people, and let's just face it, it's just really hard out there to build a successful long-term project, multifaceted, integrative project right now. It's too easy to come in, get a bunch of ADA and be like, it didn't work, I'm on to the next thing. You know, like those days I think are ending. And that's what people forget about these bear market cycles. It weeds out the trash, man. Put that stuff in a pile, burn it, and you're left with whatever is left out. It's almost like the same thing with crypto. When you go through those hard times, it's like all that stuff is gone. And now there's less, you know, trash to invest in. And that is what really, I think, when people got their nose down, they're building, they're working hard. When the money and the people and basically the liquidity starts to flow back in, you're left with better projects. And now those projects start to benefit. And the people that were there and believing in those projects and invested early, they get to benefit. Because at the end of the day, you know, people do want to make money. They don't want to lose money. Nobody wants to come in there and
no one wants to lose money.
You know, and it's definitely not like it is the primary thing, but it's not always the focus, because you can be involved and there's just so much you can do with a good community. You know what I mean? But,
you know,
this transition, this shift that I'm starting to see now is that we're going to be left with a lot of really, really, really good projects. And, you know, Cardano is going to benefit from it. And it's funny, you mentioned earlier something about which, you know, when you make a YouTube video, it's up there forever. You got Twitter spaces, they come and go, Twitter posts, they come and go, but a YouTube video can always be circled back to and looked at and watched and listened to and picked apart or whatever, leave comments, all that stuff. Right now, in this time that we're going through, it is May 2023. For all those who are watching this way down the road one day, and we're going through the meme coin explosion, right? We're going through this whole meme. It's crazy. It happens again. It comes back to being in cycles, right? This happened a couple of years ago. Well, now it's happening again, and so it sucks out this liquidity, right? And then it leaves the starving projects are just basically dying off. Unfortunately, not everybody has what it takes to be a good project. But when that stuff comes back around, again, those projects are going to benefit. I would like to see some of that meme money come back and pour into something actually solid, like some of these projects. You know, ADA Inmates is a perfect example of one of them. When it all comes, it's all going to come back in together, and we're all going to be singing happy days again. And, you know, and our hard work is going to pay off. I'm in the same situation. You work hard, you hit a brick wall sometimes, and you just got to push through. You come back, you look and go, wow, I'm so glad that I worked so hard to make this happen, because look at all of the people that are super, you know, stoked on what I created. It's amazing.
Listen, it's changed my life. This has changed my life. You would never, ever think that I would be involved in something like this. If you knew me before this, it was never a chance. Anybody that knows me now is like, really? What are you talking about? Like, come on. Like, I'm called a geek now. That's what I'm called. Everyone just calls me a geek. Everyone that knows me outside of crypto just say, oh, you're a geek now. You know, that's all I get. So I'm like, okay, fair enough. You know, but it's changed my life. This community, this project is, you know, if I could give up my real life job tomorrow, I'd be gone. Like, if the dream now for me, like, you know, is to get to a point where I don't have to work a real life job and could do this and, you know, and be happy doing something that I enjoy. Because to be honest, this is not a job. This is not a job for me. Like, I know it's a business, but it's not a job. I don't see it like, oh, I have to do this. Oh, I have to do it. No, I'm like, yes, I want to do it. You know, who sits on a voice chat for 6 hours talking to the community and regularly, not just like once in a blue moon. It's regularly because I actually enjoy the people. They're like my family. So, and also they've got incredible ideas. They've got incredible ideas, and they're so untapped. If you listen to the song, the Only Time Will Tell song, like, this guy's a genius with the vocals. Some of the person that did the raps never rapped before in public. He only rapped to his 4-year-old kid. So no, he's never rapped in his life outside of his house. So, and trying to get that out of people, and this is what our community does. It puts people that may be shy, maybe not confident. We've got one of our officers now has been promoted to an officer. You know him, Way Off. Way Off, right?
Oh yeah, Way Off's awesome. Shout out to Way Off, by the way, right?
Shout out Way Off, because when we met Way Off, he never used to speak in the voice chats, right? He used to be like, it'd be weeks and weeks. I'd see his name there, and I'd be like, "You're right, Way Off." You're like, "How are you, mate?" He'd never respond for weeks and weeks, and then all of a sudden, one day he felt comfortable enough to come out of his show and have a conversation. And now he's like, you would never believe that he was like that. He's come right out of his show, and he's a massive part of our community, a massive part of our team. I mean, you know him yourself. So, I mean, stuff like that, drawing people's talents and skills when they may have different, what they class as original weaknesses, and turn it into a positive and bring it out of their shells. There's so much untapped talent in our communities. Look at the guy who's never built an island before. He's never built a 3D island or anything of the sort. He built the island, Mac. He's a 2D artist and, dabbles in 3D. He built that.
Wow.
It's giving the confidence to people to be able to express themselves and not be on time constraints, not being like, I want this now, I want this now, I want this now. The only thing they get from me is pure, direct, what I want. And then we'll go back and forth. But there's no like, I need, how people treat people. Like, this needs to be done at this time, and there's no that connection. These are inmates, part of our community, so that honesty and straightforwardness, they put their heart and soul in it because they're part of our community.
Exactly.
If I hired somebody from the outside to do the same job, there would not be that love inside the job. There would not be that creativity, and that skill will not come out with that love. It won't. So,
well, we actually see that happen quite a bit. You see people like they go out in there, they need something done, they hire somebody from whatever. That's what they do for a living. They do it. It doesn't always work out, unfortunately. A lot of people, Rug or whatever it may be, you can work with these devs and they've got all this experience or whatever. But when you get people from your community and they're part of it and they're invested in it, just not from an investment, money standpoint, but time, effort, relationships being built, all these things, people always go, community is a cliche. No. For anyone who's watching this, trust both of us right now, even if you don't know anything about NFTs or whatever. That's when you keep talking about people, community. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about an actual pool of people who have individual talents, individual goals, individual abilities, some of them locked, some of them unlocked, some of them who are maybe they don't even know what they're capable of, and they find this opportunity and the confidence to do these kinds of things. That's what I've always loved about you, Hansell, and ADA Inmates. You reach in there and people can look at your project on the surface and go, oh, this inmate thing, they're always talking about shanking. What is this stuff going on? Like, this is dark, this is ominous, it's not, cool or whatever. It's like the complete opposite. You guys are actually empowering and encouraging people to be yourself. Just go out there and be yourself, because what you are as an individual, you are different than everybody else. You have some sort of talent that nobody else on this planet probably has, and only you can do what you can do. And you guys are always bringing that out. And so, it sounds preachy or whatever, but I really do believe that there are so many people out there that need to know more about what an NFT is. It's not just a JPEG. NFTs are not JPEGs. They're not monkeys eating bananas anymore. There's real stuff going on. There's real relationships being formed. There's real people doing real things. And you know what? Damn it, it's exciting, man.
Because it's crazy.
You can't go do this with the cryptocurrency community. It's not the same, man. There's no creativity. No,
it's one thing I would say one bit of advice that I would give as learning in this space, and I'm still learning, obviously. From coming in and seeing, being in a lot of projects, I hold probably about 60, 70 projects. I hold quite a lot of NFTs. Just coming in and looking at, people say, community, people talk, community,
right? Yeah.
Right. Community, whatever. Listen, I'll tell you what, to anyone who's creating a project, a community can build you to be something great, or a community in 5 minutes can destroy your project and it'll be finished.
Yep.
within minutes, it's gone. That's it, and that's a fact. If you do something to your community, or you disrespect them, or you don't, you mess with their money, you mess with their investment, you mess with their time. Time is the biggest one. You mess with people's time that invested their time in your project. 5 minutes, they could finish your project. So that's the only advice I would give to anyone creating a project.
Look, that's good advice. And people, when they come in here, they need to be on top of their game. And again, it goes back to the situation that we're in right now. A year ago, everything was honky-dory, and it's just not like that right now. And so if you come in here with actual aspirations, actual goals, you're not just coming in to rug the community and take some of that hard-earned Cardano. Unfortunately, there's still people who are doing that. It's gotten harder for them, which is great. But if you're going to come in here with aspirations, that's great advice, because you really have to be able to, if you don't have that community, you don't have anything. You can have the best art, you can have the best tech, you can have the best whatever, but if you don't respect what basically makes your project worthwhile, at the end of the day, you'll have nothing. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to ask you a loaded question right now.
Go on.
And the only reason it's a loaded question is because it's ADA Inmates, right? And this question is this.
Go on, man.
What's next? So you have a lot going on. We haven't even talked about the island. We haven't even talked about so many of the things, the ecosystem you're building.
We could probably make this like a 4 or 5 hour thing, but really. So let's just go on to the rest of this year, for example, because we're always way in advance of what we're doing. So we've got the staking platform that's going to be dropped along with the cells. The cell mints can happen first, then the staking platform goes live. That's with Yepple. And then the marketplace goes live straight after. So 3 big things in a row in the same month. Then we've got, what our plan is to do then is to do some, like I said earlier, get out, do some proper marketing, like as a people, or not pay people, but get out and do the marketing, work on more utility for the token, because we don't want to just chuck out the token. We may put a small amount out and see, what happens, because we've got the women's mint that you're going to need smokes for. There's other stuff that I can't talk about what you're going to need smokes for, but there's stuff that outside of the normal raffles and stuff like that kind of stuff, there's dreams. There's a lot of dreams going on, that island that you saw in the latest video, who knows, we might make an Inmates album. Who knows, we might, the kind of dream down the line would be awesome to make a film based on the lore, or a TV show, or, listen, why can't we have dreams? Who thought we was going to be where we are now? No one thought that, apart from the inmates, So, we want to incorporate people from outside in Web 2 and the normal day life and bring them into our ecosystem. We want to actually build our smoke token to be, you want to buy the token, you don't want to sell it for ADA, or you don't want to sell it for that. That's the whole point, of a token, is to have enough use cases and good use cases so that people don't just want to dump it. So that's the key. To bring value to the token is massive. We did we paid a lot of money to work with a team to do our tokenomics, to go over them, and those kind of things, we needed to do for the long term. Can
I stop you right there real quick, because I don't think, shout out to everyone, by the way, who's watching this and come along this far in an interview. These are the things that we love to represent here. I don't want anyone to miss what you just said. You paid, and I know this because I've had private conversation with you along the way before it even happened. You paid good money to have someone look into the tokenomics of what you're bringing. You didn't just decide, hey, we're going to have a token. Hey, we're going to do this buzzword. It's going to be great. You can buy some cool stuff with it. Great. Sounds good. But you paid money for someone to look at you, at your system, and go, this is what you need to make it work for sustainability, for engagement, for value. That should not be overlooked. For anyone who's understanding these kinds of things, when a founder is willing to take, and pay money to have something done right, because maybe they're not an expert and they're not a professional, tokenomics creator or whatever. That says everything you need to know about a project, in my personal opinion. And I just wanted to rewind that there, because it's a very important kind of things. This is long-term sustainability at its finest, in my personal opinion. Because I know you
just to add on to that. So yeah, our tokenomics, what we did, were pretty good. Space done a really good job on it anyway. There was things that we needed to change. There was numbers we needed to change for long term, and switching things around, stuff like that. But it needed to be done because we wanted to have a solid foundation for when we do, add things to our ecosystem. There's pots of smoked tokens for certain things, and it all works out financially down the line. As in number wise. So you don't want to get to a year down the line and think, oh no, we messed up these numbers. Now what are we going to do?
Yeah, right.
So yeah, and at the end of the day, we've got to treat it like a business. At the end of the day, we can sit here and we can say, it's all community and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's still a business. We are a registered business. Our ADA Inmates Ltd is a registered business, and we treat it that way. So when it comes to the finances, I'm a good haggler when it comes to business. I run businesses for people in my day job. So I'm good with budgets. I'm good with that kind of stuff. People might not know that about me, but yeah, I run things on tight budgets daily. So I've got that in my locker. Also now with the tokenomics, and Space has had a business before, so he's been a former business owner. So we've got quite a lot of knowledge in our locker. But we need to do our due diligence and our homework. That's why our white paper is 20 pages long. That's why everything's in depth, because we don't want, listen, who knows what's going to happen in the future? We don't know what's going to happen with any project. We don't. So, but as long as I can, look the people in the community in the eye and say, listen, I've done everything possible to try and make this the best it can be, I'll sleep easy.
Yeah.
So that's what we needed to do. So, and people know that. People who's in the community know that. People outside of the community, they just see, the darkness, the like you say, the shanking and this kind of stuff. Even a few influencers get a little bit crying about that kind of stuff as well. I won't mention any names.
All right. I already set them all straight for you, bro. Don't even worry about it. I came out and said,
You know what people are like. But the thing is, people don't know. If they don't know me and they don't know, because technically I'm the face, basically, if you want to call it that. I mean, yeah, it's interesting. Like we had someone on our Warden's Lounge the other day, and we saw what he's like when he's typing and the way he comes across with his typing game. But when he's in real life to the person and you're speaking to them, it's a totally different person. It's a smart, educated person. And behind Twitter posts and all that kind of stuff, people are different. So that's why I prefer to be face-to-face. This is my favorite kind of interviews, to be face-to-face. I can look you in the eye. I can bounce off your how you're acting. I can tell if you're not feeling the situation. If I can tell the whole vibe. I can feed off. If you're giving some energy, I give you the energy back. People don't know that. Like I've seen some interviews, even some of your interviews, that where people on the opposite side of you are not feeding off your energy, and people need to be more excited about what they're doing. Because at the end of the day, this is supposed to be exciting. It's supposed to be like passion driving through through your bones, and your blood.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what the hell are you doing here?
I agree with you. What are you doing here if you don't? I mean, you're at the end of the day, you're still in a people business. This is a people business. We're talking about JPEG, talking about technology. You use the word, geeked out, because people know that you have to kind of become a technology geek to understand some of these things or whatever, and how they interoperate. But at the end of the day, this is still a people business. And if you don't have like the passion for it, I just don't think you're going to make it in this space. You're going to run out of steam. You're going to run out of ideas. You're going to run out of something. But if you're passionate about what you're doing, you're going to push through those hard moments, and you're really going to come back and go, wow, here we are. Now everything's just, the stuff that we've created is even better than I imagined. And I think that that's what it takes. And that's, I love that you mentioned that, and that's why I do these founder interviews. And there's so many people who, for whatever reason, they won't do a founder interview. Maybe they don't want their faces shown, or maybe they don't want to they don't want people to find out that behind that keyboard, that's not the kind of person that maybe they want, to be the face of a project or whatever. There's a lot of reasons, there's a lot of things going on. But like you said, there are people who are typing, right? And there are people who engage in a certain way. But when you get people on a space, or you get someone on camera, especially, that's when you really start to find out and learn a lot about those kinds of people and those kinds of things. And, you had a great idea. Maybe we should get some people together in this space who care about it, people who have the passion. If anything else, when you shake it all down and you're left naked, all they have maybe is passion. But that's such a crucial ingredient. If we can get some of these things together, get some of these people on camera and start to push, forward into the overall macro things perspective of what Cardano has to offer as a blockchain, as an NFT platform, amazing things can get done. Lives can get changed. I really, truly believe that. I think that you guys operate on a very, very, very high level of engagement across the board. And I'm excited for what ADA Inmates is still doing, still developing, still bringing in. When people come and they see Cardano, I want them to see the top projects. I don't want them to start from the bottom and go, this is trash. I want them to start from the top and see the potential of what it has, what we have to offer for the world. And hopefully we grow together. And that's what it's really all about. And that's what I love about you, man. You've always been about that. That's why you will always have my platform at your availability. That's why I will always continue to, what I'm saying?
You know what? I'm going to say it now, yeah? I'm going to say it now. There's two people, like, whether you want to call it influencers or whatever, there's yourself and Cardano 4, who have been, from the beginning, always supportive, always spoke highly of us. I've had a few conversations behind on video with yourself, just talking about stuff in general and stuff like that. So I just want to say, like, we appreciate that. We appreciate the support. And I want to send a message to people that may be watching this video that don't know anything about our project and, have looked at ADA Inmates from the outside and go, the art's a bit dark, the art's a bit, so on and so forth. Listen, if you want to be involved in a family and a project that actually take your opinion and your investment seriously, then come and check us out. Come and check out the detail that we have and the honesty and openness we have. Because I don't think there's another community that are like us, in my opinion, obviously. So yeah, guys, come and check us out. Don't be scared. We don't bite unless you ask. And
you don't actually shank people. That's just
no, we don't. No. It's more like a little smack on the bum, like after when you play a football match or whatever. It's one of those kind of things, really. It's just a bit of banter.
Yeah, it's fun times and it's engaging, and you got to keep the atmosphere lighted sometimes too, because we have a lot of people who are I think negative about the situation as a whole, which of course you can't control. Things.
Well, let's wait until the gang wars start, because I forgot to mention that. So we're building we're building a gang wars game inside our Discord. We're creating a bot that's gonna be it's gonna have like a weapons armory and all that kind of stuff. Like we're going to use our in-house kind of ashes that you get for engaging and stuff like that. That's going to be real big. So it's going to be based on what NFTs you're holding, and so that's being built right now. So after the marketplace is open, the next thing we want to launch is the Gang Wars game. So yeah, just thought before I forget that.
Well, and for those of you who do have no idea what these NFTs are yet, which hopefully you're looking at them on JPEG, look at the metadata. There's a lot of stuff in the metadata that can talk a lot about the factions, the gang wars, the hierarchies and everything. It's very much like an actual real prison system. Like you said earlier in the beginning of this interview, a lot about that culture, and you brought that into an NFT project. It doesn't have to be a dark thing. It can actually be a very enlightening thing and a very educational, at the very least, extremely educational. So you hear the word gang wars, you think, oh my gosh, I want nothing to do with that. Look into it before you make that judgment. Never judge a book by its cover. ADA Inmates is the perfect example of not taking a project and judging a book by its cover, because if you look underneath, there is so much. And I talk about this before, I've said it, there's those iceberg projects. You got this much on top. This is what's visible. This is what you can see. This is what you can, your first level of engagement. And then you look underneath and there's the rest of the 90%. ADA Inmates is absolutely, I can back up everything this man is saying, because like he said earlier, I've been along for the journey since the minute I found you guys. I came in, I said, I know, because of the people involved, and I know what's being built here. And this is the kind of thing that I will back up no matter what, even to the point of engaging some of my fellow influencers and going, please take a better look before you just make a judgment, because there's so much going on with this project, so much going on with Cardano. Again, we're all big fans of what's being built on Cardano. We know that, the cream will always rise to the top. We're here to just, look down at the rest and say, how can we get you to the top as well? Thank you for doing that on behalf of an influencer or an educator, whatever you want to call it. I've been in this space for almost 2 years now. I've seen a lot of things go down. I've seen a lot of things come up. I've seen a lot of things crumble. I've seen a lot of people who push things to the side, and a lot of people who are willing to reach out with a helping hand and say, what can we do to make the overall space better, and helping other projects along the way. You guys have always done that. You have not judged anybody. You have not judged a project, whether by the size, by the volume, or the numbers of how many people are involved in the community or whatever it may be. You're here to help and extending a helping hand. That's what makes the space better. So, thank you for that from myself to you. And I've told you this off camera as well. That's in a nutshell what I think people need to understand about what ADA Inmates is as an actual project. The whole basically pie, the whole kit and caboodle together. This is what we need in the space. And so thank you for creating that.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's we try and educate from the beginning. Even when we first minted, you had to do your own research, and I don't know if you remember, but you had to answer questions about the white paper and the prison journal to even get a whitelist. So you couldn't just come in and take the mick with it. You had to read, and there was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that were reading the white paper. And now those people most of them are still here. We needed the flippers at the beginning. Thank you for flippers. Thank you guys. Appreciate that. Made the volume nice and got the real holders some good deals.
And pride.
So yeah, that's it. And we need that. And at the moment, people would be begging for that. People will be begging for flippers to flip their project. And then people can say whatever they want, but they'll be begging for someone to flip their project right now.
That's actually quite an observation, because it used to be, looked upon as even myself, I admit it. I'm like you, bro. I'm always learning. I'm always being humbled. I'm always, as much as I know, does not compare to what I still need to know. And you look at these flippers, I was like, people need to stop flipping projects. It's like, wait a minute, they have a purpose too. They're part of the overall ecosystem. And you look at it now, like you said, people would be begging for people to be coming in there and flipping their project. And so, it just goes to show how much room we have to grow as a project, as an ecosystem, as, just Cardano itself. Times are tough, but they're not always going to be that way. And before you know it, I think, again, we're going to circle back to times where people are going to be like, I'm so happy that I stayed. I'm so happy that I learned. I'm so happy I'm a deep-rooted part of this particular community or that particular community, because now, we all reap the benefits of the hard work that's been done by the people like yourself, people like Space. Shout out to Space Ace, by the way. I know he couldn't be here, but he's such an integral part of what you guys are doing, and so creative, and so such a smart guy, such a nice he's just always fun to talk to. He's so humble, and
he's a really good person, genuine person. Yeah.
The next interview we have, because like I was going to say earlier, I'm not done covering ADA Inmates. You can stay tuned on UltimateCNFT to find out all about everything that's continuing to go on with the projects that I like to feature, especially the top tier projects that have so much to offer. You can never do it in one video. You can never do it in one interview. We're going to have Space Ace on for that next one, but we're going to go ahead and wrap this up, man. We've been chatting for well over an hour. Is there anything that you'd like to say that we haven't said on camera yet before we chop this up and get this out to the public for
yeah, just thanks to our community for giving us this opportunity to live our dreams. They say, you guys put a hard effort, but listen, you've gave me the chance to live a dream now. So, I appreciate it. So that's it,
awesome, man. And I second that. And, without our community, at the end of the day, we're nothing. And without my subscribers, the people who watch this channel religiously, I appreciate all of you guys. Thank you. Hit that thumbs up if you haven't done it. It takes 2 seconds. Like the video, share the video, subscribe, tell your friends. You want to have people who represent this place in an honest, respectful manner. Having people like yourself here, Hansell, today for this interview. Thank you for your time as well. I know you're working hard. You've got an IRL job that you do. I don't know how you do it, bro. I really don't know how you put so much time and effort into your project, and you have all these other things to do as well. So, thank you for being here. Shout out to all you guys. Shout out to the community, and like and share, everybody. We love you. Peace out.
Peace out. Peace out.
God bless.